Well, certainly you don't need any introduction, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for joining us here today. I can't imagine how many of these Zoom calls that you're on a given day. It probably starts in the morning and ends really late at night. Any message you...
I was
go ahead.
going to say, I think my eye doctor wants to see me. I have Zoom all day, and then I go home and watch Netflix. So
yeah,
my eyes are hurting.
It's funny you say that. I was just researching these lenses to cut down on Blu-rays last night because my eyes are burning at the end of the day. It's not a good thing.
Yeah. Well,
Mayor, did you... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you want to say, pass on any messages? I know that you've been a strong defender. I mean, I'm hearing that consistently, on the nightly news, in a defender of small businesses and the necessity to strike the right balance between, of course, public health regulations that are going to keep all of us safe, but also, keeping, as I think you've said, keeping the local economy rolling. Any thoughts to share on a really significant day where we're back in orange zone and many businesses are opening up today?
Yeah, thank you very much. And a big thank you to you and the OBJ for the great work you've been doing in your 25th anniversary, as well as Jarrett and eSAX. It's not quite like being at the horticulture building and networking with friends and potential customers, but you picked a good day because, as you pointed out, we're business. The local economy is starting to rev up after the lockout, and to try to help on my small part, because ultimately it's the consumers that are going to drive the success of opening up these businesses. I got my hair cut, I had breakfast on Wellington Street and lunch on Elgin Street, and then going to a local shop, I think, to buy some pasta for tonight. So I'm trying to practice what I preach, because we need to get out there and support these small businesses, because, as I've said all along, and no disrespect to the big multinationals and the online ordering, but you don't go to them to sponsor your kid's baseball team or to get the basket of goods from a company for the cancer fundraiser. We need these small businesses to survive. So I know you have a very exciting panel coming up. I'm just going to be very brief in terms of some of the things that we've been trying to do, and to ask those comments and suggestions on to the listeners and the viewers of this broadcast. As you know, we set up the Mayor's Economic Recovery Task Force. We have great representation from all of the business groups. Sue Ling, of course, is on. Invest Ottawa, Tourism Ottawa, the music industry, the Festival Network, Regroupement des gens d'affaires, so many others that are integrally involved in the economic well-being of our city. The BIAs, of course, who are doing a remarkable job on the local level. So we set that up. We brought in the tax deferral program that allowed people to defer their taxes, either business or residential. About 2,000 people took us up on that to help with cash flow. We launched the Buy Local campaign, working with Ottawa Tourism and media like yourselves, Michael. We brought in the patio program. We saw, I think, about 125% increase in the number of patios this summer and fall. We waived the patio fees. I know one restaurateur on Preston Street told me it saved him $7,000, which was significant. We passed a motion unanimously calling on the province to allow small businesses to open and follow the same rules as the big guys. Why could you go in and buy a flat screen TV at Walmart or at Costco, but you couldn't go in and buy that same flat screen TV at Sonic Sound on Bank Street, or that sports equipment at Kunstead Sports on Bank in Alta Vista, or the Glebe. Also, Invest Ottawa was very successful in attracting funding to help with the Main Street program that allowed people who don't have the capacity to sell online to bring them into the 21st century at no charge, thanks to the support of the federal government. And I know that I believe there are a couple hundred companies who benefited from that program as well. So we continue to work with the provincial government. We're appreciative of the fact they've opened up our economy. We're in orange category. Our numbers today, 33, which is very low. We've been in the double digits in terms of people with COVID-19 for over 3 weeks now. We have just 3 people in the ICU for a city of 1 million. I think that's a very good ratio. and about 18 or 19 people in hospitals. So we continue to work with Ottawa Public Health to ensure that the rules are followed, and we continue to work with our federal and provincial counterparts to make sure that we have the necessary programs in place both during COVID and the recovery afterwards. So that's why we continue to invest in public transit projects that are creating thousands of jobs. And just as a final note, of all 6 large cities in Canada, Ottawa is doing the best when it comes to the unemployment rate. I think we're about 6.4, 6.5% compared to other cities, and some in the double digits. That's not to speak ill of those cities, but we obviously have a stable high-tech base as well as a government base, being the nation's capital. And as a result, we're not happy, obviously, at having the figure in the 6s. But prior to, just to remind everyone, prior to COVID, we were firing on all cylinders. We had an unemployment rate was the lowest in 30 years, down to about 4.1%, and people were expanding and growing. And just one indicator that we're in the right direction. We secured more building permit fees and more building permits themselves in this past year, 2020, than we did in 2019. So that's a good indicator that people have confidence in the local economy. They want to expand, but far too many for lease signs, far too many for sale signs, empty storefronts that we need to work with all our community to help those businesses. And a shout out to people like Michael Woods, who might be on this call. He's organized a mental health Zoom call, because there's a lot, unfortunately, there are people who have lost their lives as a result of putting all their investment into their business, and they've seen it just go, bankrupt overnight. So there's a mental health component to what people are going through, not just an economic component. And we have to be sensitive and provide those services to those people as best as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for all those comments. I think, Jared, or we're going to move on to Mr. Wilson now, or?
Yes, Mayor Watson, thank you so much for the leadership over all this length of time, and continue to be a pillar of strength. So thank you for everything you do. And I'm sorry to cut you short. I know people would have loved the opportunity to hear more about what you have to offer, but we do what we can.
My pleasure. Nice to see the fedora. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Jim Watson, thank you.